Hello shining stars, how are you all? I hope that you all are fit and healthy, and I hope you have completed the previous chapter. So now let's move into the chapter number 15, and the chapter over here is Birbal wins again. So basically student, this is a funny and clever story about Birbal. Okay, as you know about the Akbar and Birbal stories, like the great stories. Okay, and these type of stories contain the clever type of answers which is given by Birbal, and you have always seen that the Birbal always win. Okay, and these type of stories are also funny. Okay, so let's start the story. But before the story, here you can see the warm up activity. Do you like stories that are funny and make you laugh? So here the question rises that do you like that type of story which are funny and which make you laugh? Obviously the answer is yes. Okay, everybody love the funny and the funny stories and the one which make us laugh. Okay, why do you like them? Basically we like them because they are funny, they just make us laugh. Okay, do you know a funny story? Now the question rises that do you know a funny story? If you know, then you have to recall it and then you have to narrate it in the class. Okay, read this one. Now we have to read this funny story. Okay, so let's start the funny story. Birbal was a wise minister in the Mughal Emperor Akbar's court. Okay, so who was Birbal? Birbal was a wise minister in the Mughal court. Okay, Mughal Emperor court, that is Akbar's court. Okay, he was renowned throughout the kingdom not only for his wisdom but also for his presence of mind. Okay, so he was known, he was famous for his, not only for his wisdom, for his knowledge and all, but also for his great presence of mind. Okay, to always be in that situation, be in the present moment. Okay, so he was always able to keep the emperor in good humor. Okay, he always make the emperor, that is the King Akbar, to be in good humor. That means to be in jolly mood, happy mood. Okay, Akbar, who was himself a very learned person, appreciated Birbal's wit and enjoyed listening to him. Okay, Akbar, who himself was known as a learned person, like a knowledgeable person, intelligent person. Okay, he just loved the company of Birbal, and he just loved Birbal's wit. Wit means the knowledge, the intelligence and all. Okay, the cleverness and all, and he just enjoyed to listen to Birbal always. Okay, he admired Birbal's intelligence and valued his company. He just admired Birbal intelligent and also value his company, that he is very important to him. Okay, now once on a cold winter day, Akbar and Birbal went for a walk along the lake. A thought came to Birbal. Okay, so what happened? Once on a cold winter day, Akbar and Birbal, they just went for a walk along the lake. Okay, and then a thought came to Birbal. Okay, he said to the king, I think a man would do anything for money. Okay, so he just said to the king that I think a human being can do anything for money. Okay, Akbar then touched the water in the lake with his finger, but he removed it. Okay, but he removed it quickly because it made him shiver with cold. So what happened, student? Akbar, he just touched the water in the lake with his finger and he suddenly removed the hand. Okay, he suddenly removed his hand quickly, and because why he suddenly removed his hand? Because the water was very cold. Okay, as you know, the cold weather is going on and the water was very cold. Okay, Akbar said, do you think a man would spend a whole night in this cold water for money? Okay, now Akbar asked that do you think a man can do anything for money? A man could spend this like whole night in this cold lake, okay, in this cold water for money? Now Birbal replied, I'm sure I can find such a person. Now Birbal said, I'm sure I can find such type of person. Okay, Akbar then challenged Birbal to find someone to do the task. He said he would reward the person with 1,000 gold coins. Okay, then Akbar challenged to Birbal that to find someone who can do this type of task, and he also promised that he will reward the person with 1,000 gold coin. Okay, Birbal looked far and wide until he found a man who was so poor that he was ready to do anything for money. The man stepped into the lake and the guards were placed to watch over him. Okay, so Birbal looked far and wide also, like you know, he was finding the man who can do this type of thing, and basically he found a poor man who was ready to do anything for money. Okay, so basically that man was ready, that man just stepped into the lake, okay, inside the lake, and the guards were always there to, you know, to look over him. Okay, The next morning, the guards took the man to Akbar. Akbar asked him, "Did you spend the night in the lake?" Okay, so next morning, guard took that man towards Akbar, and then Akbar asked the man, "Did you spend the whole night in that cold water? Okay, in that lake?" The man nodded, "Yes, Your Honor, I did." Okay, so the man answered that, "Yes, Your Honor, I did. Okay, I spent the whole night." Akbar then asked, "My dear man, how did you manage to spend the whole night in the lake where the water is as cold as ice?" Okay, so Akbar then asked that man, okay, that, "My dear man, how did you spend the whole cold night in that cold water, okay, without any clothes and all, okay, and how you spend the whole night in that cold water which is as cold as ice?" Okay, there was a street lamp nearby. I kept my attention fixed on the lamp and away from the cold, the man replied. Okay, so basically the man replied that there was a street lamp over there. I just kept my attention towards the lamp only. Okay, so that I did not feel any kind of coldness and all. Okay, because the lamp light is giving me the hotness, is giving me the warmth. Okay, Akbar frowned. "We can't give you a reward. You survived in the cold lake because the street lamp kept you warm." Okay, now Akbar frowned and said, "We can't, give you the reward simply because you survive over there by looking towards the street lamp and while you are standing in that lake." Okay, so the poor man went to Birbal for help. Now what happened? The poor man went to Birbal for the help. Okay, the next day, Birbal did not go to court. Okay, next day what happened? Birbal did not went to the court. Now the king sent a messenger to his house to find out why he had not come. Now king was upset and got angry also, and he just said to his messenger that find out why he didn't came to the court. Okay, the messenger came back and said that Birbal would come after his khichdi was cooked. Okay, so basically the messenger came back and said that Birbal will come after his khichdi was cooked. Okay, the king waited for hours, but Birbal did not come. Finally, the king went to Birbal's house to see what he was doing. Okay, so basically, king waited for hours. Okay, but Birbal didn't came. Okay, so the king got annoyed and all. Okay, got angry, and he just decided to go to the Birbal's house. Okay, to see why he is not coming. He found Birbal sitting close to a fire. A pot of khichdi hung 5 feet above the fire. The king and his attendants laughed when they saw this. Okay, so he just found Birbal, okay, who was sitting close to a fire, and a pot of khichdi was there, which is kept like 5 feet away from the fire. Okay, and by watching it, by looking it, the king and his attendants, they just laughed at him. Okay, now Akbar Akbar then asked Birbal, "How will the khichdi cook if it is so far away from the fire?" Okay, now Akbar asked Birbal that how the khichdi will cook if it is so far with that fire one. Okay, so basically Birbal answered, "The same way the poor man kept warm from a street lamp that was far away." Okay, now Birbal answered, "The same way the poor man kept warm by that street lamp which is far away from him." Okay, so the king realized his mistake and gave the poor man his reward. Finally, the king, that means Akbar, realized his mistake and he rewarded the coins, the gold coins, to the poor man. Okay, who accomplished that kind of competition, that kind of thing over there. Okay, so student, this story is basically a short part, okay, of the compiled version of the Akbar and Birbal tales. Okay, so student, basically from this story what we have learned that how to be in the presence of mind and how to be intelligent as the Birbal, and also how to keep oneself focused, okay, determined like the poor man did. Okay, when he was totally in that cold water, he was determined and he just focused in that street lamp only. Okay, so that he just got the warmth, okay, to keep his mind in that way only. Okay, like that only we have to be as intelligent as Birbal and as focused as the poor man. Okay, now let's know about some word meaning. Let's learn new words. So the first word over here is shiver, which means to shake or tremble because of cold. Next word is reward, which means to give something in prize. Next is survive, which means manage to stay alive. Next is messenger, which means a person who carries messages. Next is attendants, which means